This Powermate MAXA 3000 electric generator has been inactive and not used for a long time, probably 20 years. So we're going to see if we can get it back to running health again. But today what I'm going to do is focus on cleaning out a small engine gas tank. So stay tuned. Strong. Here are the things we're going to need to clean the gas tank. We're going to need a little bit of gas, probably a couple ounces, maybe 4 ounces. Should do the trick. We've also got one of these remote grabbers that you can get at Harbor Freight or sometimes even at a dollar store. I've got an old sock I'm going to use as a rag and 2 small vice grips that we're going to use to clamp off the fuel lines. You can also put some bolts in the ends of the fuel lines if you want to, but I just happen to have these lying around, so we'll use these to clamp off the fuel lines. Okay, in this case, I've already removed the carburetor. So what we're going to do is clamp off the 2 fuel lines and get it ready to add the gas in. So I got 1. And we got 2. So that should stop the gas from leaking out. I've already removed the carburetor. I've got a new one in order from eBay. So we're just going to install a new one instead of trying to clean out that old one, which is very gummed up. But like I said, what we're going to do is focus on cleaning this tank out today. So next what we're going to do is get our rag and our little remote claw. Now don't use a paper towel for this because it'll shred. So you're going to need some kind of rag that's not going to disintegrate on you. We're going to get that ready, but what we're going to do next is put in some gasoline and probably let it sit for a couple hours since this gas tank is dry. Now you can skip this step obviously if you already have gasoline in your tank. All right, that tank's been dry for years and years and years, probably decades. So what we're gonna do is let it sit in there and let the crud and garbage all kind of coagulate and loosen up. And then we'll use our rag on our remote picker-upper to clean out the tank. So we'll be right back. Okay, so what we're gonna do is release the vice grip here. And let's see what kind of gasoline we get out and how filthy it is. It's actually looking pretty good. So next, we're going to take our rag on a remote remover. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to put it down in here. Switch around. Actually, it looks very, very clean. Looks very clean, so I'm impressed. That's a pretty clean tank. The replacement carburetor arrived today in the mail from eBay. So for less than $15, I'm not going to rebuild the old one. So we'll just put in the new one, which looks identical. So right now, what I've got to do is remove this little wire and attach it to the correct place on the little governor plate up above. And then I'll install it and we'll see what happens. Put some gas in it and see if she flies. Stick around. Now we'll install the gasket. A new gasket that came with our kit. Install the fuel line hoses. And now I'll put a little gas in and see what happens. Oh, I've decided not to install the air cleaner portion that goes here yet until I'm confident that this is the right carburetor and actually starts the machine. So if we get it to start, then I'll reassemble this part. All right, we're gonna give it a try. So we're gonna turn it on, prime it, it's working, but we have a problem with it leaking fuel. So I'm gonna have to replace the fuel line that came with the kit. So we've got a fuel leak that we're going to have to address here. I have to empty out the tank, and the hose that they gave me with the kit won't be long enough, so I'm going to have to find a longer fuel hose, 1/4 inch this one is. Okay, next what we're going to do is drain the oil. And what I've done is I've backed out this oil plug here. And I'm going to continue to let it drain. I've already emptied this tray once. So let's get it good and empty. Because who knows how long that oil's been in there and what it's been through. So we're just going to let that drain for a long time. since I'm waiting on other parts anyway. I'll show you where to fill it next. Fill cap is right here. This is also where you check the level too. So you should see oil when you open this to check the level. As you can see, it became a big mess when I did my initial emptying of the tray. So getting this new fuel line through the center was a complete nightmare. So what I ended up having to do is, on the grinding wheel, is shaving it to a similar, a facsimile type of cone shape. So I whittled it down on a grinder, which you could also do with a knife, and made it more of a cone shape, but it would not thread through this extremely tight passageway to the carburetor on the other side. So that was the trick that finally worked to get this to thread through, because the old fuel line was perished, cracked, and leaking. So we have a fix there. Okay, the troublesome fuel line is attached to the gas tank. And on this side, we have attached the fuel line here with this little clamp. So let's try this again. I'm going to try and see if we can start it again, this time without leaks. So I'll put some gas in. Okay, next I changed the spark plug. This is the original spark plug. I used a 3/4 inch, I believe, socket, replaced that. The spark plug that was provided in the kit looked a lot different. So before we go any further, and again, before I put the air cleaner system back together, let's just see if we're going to get the motor to work. So make sure it's on, or nothing will happen. Prime a couple times, pull. So next, let's put the light in after we put this air assembly together and see if we actually generate power. Okay, we're going to put the air cleaner assembly on now. Now that we know it's working. Back together. Easier just using this. Stop dropping the stuff, it goes faster. problem, aren't you? Here. And here. Gonna be a problem. All right, I'll come back. I got a different wrench to use. Okay. I'll put this screw in with the handled socket, much easier. So now for the final part, we're placing this yucky air filter with our new one. Three holes here. Three little pegs there. Tighten up our cap. And we should be good to go. So, now, we're going to test the light. Prime. On position. Move all this because it's all going to rattle when it starts. There's the revitalization of the Coleman Powermate 3000 Max. Thanks for watching. If you run the generator and initially you don't get power coming out of these ports, press in the circuit breaker switches on both sides and it should reset the unit, which is what I had to do on this. and it works fine now.
Strong.